Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome back, and sorry about what just happened. My internet has refused me the opportunity to share some of the mixed reactions that we have gotten from the death of Charlie Kirk, the US politician who was unfortunately shot dead today, you guys. There's been a lot of mixed reactions from Africans. A lot of people have been celebrating his death. And unfortunately, I wanted to share some of the videos and some of the comments from a lot of Africans, but well, my internet has said don't talk about him. I will not talk about him because I'd already told you guys that it's going to lower my vibration. I think the universe heard and said, nah, we will not allow it to happen. So let us go on to Nigeria. Let us come back to the continent and report on news that are happening in the continent. Former Nigerian President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has warned African nations against continued reliance on international financial institutions such as the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, insisting that they were never designed to serve Africa's best interests. Speaking on Monday during an interview at the ongoing Intra-Africa Trade Fair in Algiers, Obasanjo urged African leaders to look inward, strengthen intracontinental trade, and promote regional economic integration as the foundation for sustainable growth. The World Bank is not for us, the IMF is not for us. And when we understand that these institutions are not for us, we will be better informed about how we relate with them, he said. Obasanjo used Nigeria's dramatic currency depreciation to illustrate what he described as Africa's economic vulnerability. When I was leaving office as the head of state in 1978, the naira was almost $2. Today, $1 is 1,600 naira. What has Nigeria done to devalue the currency to that extent? Something must be wrong. I don't believe that in my own lifetime, I'm talking about 45 years, this is normal, he lamented. You were once a president, Mr. Obasanjo. At some point, you served Nigeria. I don't know for how many years. I need to do my research on that one. I don't know how many times he served Nigeria. I don't know how many years he was in power. But at some point, you were there. You were the one leading. And for sure, Nigeria was still part of the IMF and the World Bank. Why didn't you take that time to kick them out, to remove Nigeria at least from having relations with these people? ECOWAS was still in power, and we all know that ECOWAS is and will never be for the countries that are currently part of the group. So if you are part of ECOWAS, and then there's IMF, and then there's World Bank, and then there's all of these organizations trying to suck from Africa, and you are now coming in to tell us they are not for us. We need to look for ways. Yes, it's a beautiful suggestion that you're saying, but what is it that you did differently when you were still in power? That's the problem that I have with our leaders, because once they are out, they now start talking like, hey, we should. Why didn't you do it when you had the time? Why did you fail us when you had the time? He could have never spoken about these organizations if he was still the president. He would never. They never want to betray them. Maybe he's at a point where he feels like I have nothing to lose. If I talk about it, so be it. There's nothing they can strip me of. I am no longer in power. I have nothing to lose, really. If Tinubu was the one talking and saying this, whilst he is there and doing something about it, then this would be news that we need to be taken seriously. Or if this guy, former President Obasanjo, was talking to Tinubu and telling Tinubu, you know what, my friend, my colleague, let us get ourselves out of this. Let us get ourselves out of ECOWAS. The same Nigeria, Tinubu was the chairperson, the chairman at that time when the AES removed themselves from ECOWAS. He was not pleased about it. He was the one who was fighting day and night for them to come back. He even sent Senegalese President Diomaye Faye to go and talk to them and try to talk to them nicely so that they can come back. Ghanaian president also tried. There were so many efforts to bring them back to an organization that is not serving Africa. The AU, where is the AU? So many issues are happening in Africa. Do we even hear the chairman of the AU speaking out, doing something? No, we don't. The IMF, these guys are here to suck from us. We know that. And when you were in power, Mr. Obasanjo, there's nothing that you did about it. So your talk right now is as useless as, I don't know. It's just so useless because you can't help us now. There was a time where you could help. You didn't do anything about it. You didn't sensitize the people about it. You didn't wake us up from this. You didn't even try. You know, Arikana is the one that came in as the liberator. Dr. Arikana Chiyombo Kwao. She's the one who woke up a lot of Africans to say, we don't need the AU. We don't need the UN. We don't need African, I don't know what. We don't need all these organizations. If you can't create ones that will serve us, then we're in trouble. She's the one who spoke against these things. And a lot of us woke up and realized that, hey, we've been fooled all along. And I guess our brothers in the AES, your Traores and your Chiani, I guess they also have some influence from what Dr. Arikana was saying. They got some of the influence from that. Like, no, it's time to take things into our own hands. We can't be ruled by these people forever. We need to change the story. We need to take matters into, our own hands. So this former president, beautiful talk, but very useless, comes at a time where Tinubu is you can't remove Tinubu from these organizations. You cannot. He's the number one supporter of all of them. IMF, World Bank, ECOWAS, all of them. He advocates for others to join and never leave. So I don't know, maybe you need to have a talk with your colleague Tinubu so that you can at least do something about it, because telling us that they are not for us, we should be looking for ways in which we could do trade. We should be looking for, we have all of these strategies, but are they being implemented? No, they are not, because nobody cares about Africa. These strategies are just to blind us to say, oh, there's a plan. 63, I don't know, 2063, 2050, who will be alive to see that plan being executed? There's always plans, but are they for now? They are never for now. You wonder, what is this plan going to help us with if it will come in 2063? How many of us will be alive then? Even the person who's initiating it and putting those years, will that person be there to make sure that they are being implemented? A new kind of generation will be there to change things around and lead the way they want to. And you are pushing things to 60, 50 years from now, as if you'll be still there to make sure that they continue. These are the kind of leaders that we don't need in Africa. Too much talk, no action. The guy is the former now. It's only now that he says, hey, look for ways in which you can trade. Why didn't you do it when you were there? On other news, Gabon has banned foreigners from managing its banks and financial institutions. This measure aims to strengthen economic sovereignty, promote management aligned with local priorities, and restore confidence in this sector. Exceptional derogations may be granted in case of lack of expertise, subject to validation by the National Economic and Financial Committee. Well done, Gabon. If only you had a president that can validate, some of us can validate, we would see this as a beautiful step forward, because we need to liberate ourselves. We need to liberate our economic sectors, our banks, the currencies. In the AES, they've been saying they will introduce their own currency. We are still waiting on that. And Gabon has come to say, we don't need foreigners in our banks. I don't know what they mean about foreigners. They probably mean people from other countries in Africa, because we have always used that word against our own people to say you are a foreigner just because you don't hold an ID card or a passport from that country. I hope the foreigners are the real foreigners from these continents that are sucking from us and are not bringing anything to the table, only taking away from us. There's not much details about this, but knowing Gabon, Nguema, the guy, his presidency is questionable, so we cannot really be celebrating this. Well, we can celebrate it because it's good news that he's trying to clean up his system, especially when it comes to finances. That is where most of us lack. Our finances are being embezzled. Our finances are not going to the places where they are supposed to be going. So when you have somebody who's saying we need to manage our finances, that's the top priority, us, for us, the locals. And if we need to outsource, then it should be because there's nobody from our country who can do it. And barely our African people are talented. We are so educated. If you were to look from within, you wouldn't even need to outsource. Probably just send somebody to a different country for a few years, few months, let them learn, come back with the skill. I don't get the point where people say Africans are not, capable, Africans do not have the skills. How are the other ones that have the skill acquiring that skill if we cannot as Africans? Why don't you send your African, your Gabonese brother or sister to go and learn and come back? There's absolutely no need to be having a French in all your ministries. The funny fact about these Francophone countries is the fact that even Dr. Rikana Chiombo was stating the fact that most, if not all, their ministries, there is a French guy who is making sure, is like an overseer, the CEO of that ministry, making sure that things are done the way that the colonizer wants them to be done. They have to stick to the rules. They have to follow, the guidelines on how they should be implementing some policies, doing a lot of activities in their countries. It's not just because the people of that country need a certain service. It's because the colonizer has said this is how it should be done. That's the unfortunate part. So from Gabon, it's a beautiful move, yes, managing your resources, your financial resources. Now move on to your minerals, move on to all the other sectors in your economy, and you will see a big difference. And then move on to having governance that is there for the people. Bryce Nguema, I still don't have confidence in you. Never have, probably never will, but maybe you can change things around in your country and let the resources of your country, your money, serve your country, develop your country, and provide employment for our Gabonese brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, I want to end this live here for today. Thank you so much for joining. Abagan Mohammed says, Africa is African. Yes, Africa is for Africans. If it's work, let the Gabonese people work in their banks, let them work in all their sectors, in all the sectors in their economy. Africa is ours. Africa is our business. We don't need anybody coming from outside to tell us what to do with our countries. We don't go to their countries to dictate to them how they should be living their lives. Let me end this video here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you tomorrow in our live. Please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And definitely buy us coffee, send us super thanks and super chats. And yeah, share the lives, share the videos, and always join. It's nice to see you. I will see you in my next one. Bye.